I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncers' guilt rings.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day.
This is COLM McGuigan for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Delighted and honoured to be joined by Joe Goosen here in the MGM Grand. Joe, how are you keeping? You all good?
Good, Colm. How are you?
I'm good. Obviously, you've joked around that we're going to need an interpreter for this. We have no interpreter.
No.
Will you be okay here without an interpreter?
Now, I have no idea what you just said, but I know it was a boxing question.
So, Joe, this is
Let's be serious.
probably the biggest fight of the year, the biggest fight of the year so far, for sure. Break down where this fight.
I'd say more than that, but yeah.
Break down for me where this fight is won. Break down where it's won and lost. Break down where the fight is won and lost.
Break down the fight where it's won.
Oh, break down the fight.
I'm really gonna need an interpreter for this one. He's messing me around.
Okay, break down the fight? In what way? What do you want me to do?
Where is it won and lost for Ryan?
Why is it?
Where is it won and lost?
You know, I mean, then you're talking strategies, and I'm not going to talk strategy. Look, I mean, I'd be foolish to do that. What I will say is this: both guys are great fighters. Tank, being a southpaw, poses a little bit more difficulty. Because most guys, when they go through a career, most right-handers, you'll face a handful of southpaws, but most of your stuff is geared towards other right-handers. So there's a challenge right there. But then on the other hand, Ryan just fought a great southpaw in Fortuna and did quite well. Ryan happens to be the rare fighter that actually likes to fight southpaws. So, that's something good. Because there's a lot of fighters that can't stand to fight southpaws. In fact, if you mention southpaws to them, they run for the hills. So, this has been a challenge in a way to get the right sparring for Ryan. That's somebody that can emulate as closely as possible Tank. So we've done all that. It's been a long camp, a very protracted camp. Probably started in October. Now, we weren't stepping on the gas completely in October, but by the time January hit, then we went full throttle. So he's been just on a mission. That's all I can tell you. This is my third fight with Ryan, and I've never, ever seen him this focused, this determined to win. I mean, he's always determined to win. He's a winner. And I predicted 4 years ago, before I was even thought about training him, that Ryan will win every fight he has. That's how much I believe in him. And I do believe in Ryan Garcia completely. So we came here to win this fight without any hesitation or compunction. We're here to win. And Ryan there's nothing else on his mind but winning right now. And he trained like that 6, 8, 10, 12 miles a day on the road. I mean, literally 6 days a week, just, round after round of the gym, very rough on sparring partners. Been practicing, all the elements of our game plan, which is varied. So, I mean, I just can't tell you, any more than that. I hope that kind of sums it up for you, what we've been doing, without giving away anything,
You've worked with some huge names in the sport. Amir Khan, Corrales. There's so many people that you've worked with in the sport. How has this camp compared to those previous camps that you've done?
Oh, this camp has been spectacular. Ryan's, he's a horse of a different color, though. He's very unique. And I say this without, being cliche. He literally has a very high IQ. I mean, literally is a very, very intelligent young man. For his age, 24, instinctually, he's very smart. And he self-educates himself. on many variety of subjects. He's unique, and like I say, and this may be becoming cliche, me saying it, but you don't necessarily train Ryan Garcia. You collaborate with him, because he's got the mind of a coach, and he breaks down things systematically to where you have to either agree with him or not agree with him, and 99% of the time you're going to go, I agree with that. You've come to some very good conclusions about this, that, or the other. So he has a lot of input into what goes on in his life and his boxing life in particular. He's just not going to be led around by the caller. He's different. And so in that regard, he's probably stands alone in my list of fighters from the past. He stands alone in regards to what I just described to you about him.
Going forward, I don't want to look past Saturday night because it would be foolish of me to do so, but for you going forward with Ryan, where does this bring him in his career next if he gets the win on Saturday night against Tank?
Yeah, look, I mean, again, that would be total, it would be jumping the gun for me. It's not in my nature to even think like that. I guess you could probably imagine it better than I at this point, because I don't think past Saturday night right now. I really don't. I'd be foolish to. This is a tough enough challenge that I think it'll suffice for the moment without thinking ahead of it. I mean, now we're so close to the fight. I don't. I mean, to discuss anything else with me, it would probably be, something that I wouldn't be interested in particular.
Finally, before we finish, your late brother Dan.
Huh?
Your late brother Dan was in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, my older
Yeah,
brother.
Dan, your late brother. With you being inducted into the Hall of Fame this June, how big is that for you and your family?
Well, I got to tell you, it was bigger for me when Dan got into the Hall of Fame. I thought it was such a great thing because he really, really deserved it. He worked tirelessly. I think he always worked a lot harder than I did, but he was in a different position. I worked hard, but Dan was like early up in the morning and got home very late in the evening. The gym doesn't work like that. You get a little bit more time in a day for yourself. And the success that he had, I saw what went into it. I was so happy for him. I thought he really deserved it. I mean, it kind of came out of nowhere. We did as a brother team back in 1980, 81. And I would have never suspected that we would have reached the heights that he did in particular. And I couldn't have gotten to where I am today without him. That's a fact. I know it because I had no business savvy. He had all the business savvy. Like I always say, Dan was the brains and I was the brawn. And I loved the gym. He hated it. I hated the office and he loved it. So it was a great team. But I'm so happy and thrilled that as much as I was for him being in there, that I will be with him when everything's said and done. And that, to me, is worth more than just me being in there, that I'm going to be in there with my brother Dan, who we started the business together, and other family members as well. And of course my brother-in-law, who's taken the mantle up for Dan, Tom Brown, TGB Promotions, who's married to my sister, doing a great job. He'll end up in the Hall of Fame one day, I'm sure. He deserves it. Tireless worker as well. Learn from Dan. And so maybe all three of us one day. But I'm very excited about it this June, and I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Well, congratulations and thank you very much for your time today. I know you're a busy man and I appreciate it. And we got through it without the interpreter, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I heard everything, and I think I heard you say interpreter. We're gonna.
Thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Colin.
Because I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
And it must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day,